क्या बोल रही है ICSE की public? This video is in two parts. I'm going to keep it short so that you don't get bored. But I'm making this video in two parts. One is for batch of 2024. That's people who are going to appear in grade 10 this year. And the other video is for batch of 2025, which is people who are now going into 9th grade. Why the video? Because I feel it's good to learn from the mistakes that your seniors have made so that you don't make the same mistakes. Plus, a lot of people are apprehensive about a new academic year. 9th school के हिसाब से चलता है, but 10th is finally boards and you're looking forward to it. At least I do all the year. Like the minute someone comes in grade 10, for me that's like I love it, all right? And you guys should also, because you're the last batch that's going to write this syllabus. That's the existing syllabus of Merchant of Venice and 5 chapters and 5 poems. After you, that's a batch of 2025, they have a completely new textbook and they've got Julius Caesar. So in a lot of ways your batch is special because come on, कोई भी चीज़ जब एंड हो रही होती है तो वो धमाके के साथ एंड होना चाहिए. That's good news क्योंकि तुम्हारा बोर्ड एग्जाम भी मस्त होने वाला है. Now you have a lot to look forward to. Paper pattern obviously has recently been changed, so that is one thing that I'm still dicey about. If ICSE is going to retain this system of 16 MCQs, 2 prose, 2 poems and 2 MOV questions, or will they change it? Now whether they change it or don't change it, we'll come to know in the month of June, July somewhere. That's when ICSE puts up the notice. But that should not be your concern. Your concern should be the syllabus. And the syllabus is for sure 5 prose, 5 poems and Act 3 to Act 5. Which means you don't have to worry about grade 9 ka syllabus. So you can undo that knowledge, you can forget that knowledge, you can unlearn whatever you've done in grade 9. हमेशा ना जब मैं स्कूल में था मैं हर साल मिस्टेक्स करता था. आई वुड सी माई पीपल हु आर स्कोरिंग वेरी वेल एंड देन आई वुड टेल माई सेल्फ कि एक बार अभी नया साल स्टार्ट होगा, आई वोंट मेक दोज मिस्टेक्स एंड मैं अच्छी तरह से पढ़ाई करूँगा. वो कभी होता नहीं है अपने से बिकॉज हैबिट्स, ओल्ड हैबिट्स डाई हार्ड. हम लोग नहीं कर पाते. बट देर आर सिंपल थिंग्स दैट यू कैन चेंज इन योर लाइफ स्टाइल इन ग्रेड 10. Try doing it, life will become much simpler for you. All right. First, let's focus on the syllabus. 5 chapters है, 5 poems है, and Act 3 to Act 5 है. I'm telling you which is the वो थाली में वो डिशेस होती हैं जो सबसे कड़वी होती है. खाना तो पड़ेगा पूरा थाली, तो कड़वी डिशेस को पहले खत्म कर लेना चाहिए. वो कड़वी डिशेस तुम लोग की कौन सी है 10th में? इज ब्लू बीड. You're gonna hate it. All Summer Day is kind of longish. And you've got Angel in Disguise, which is something that some schools do in grade 9 itself. It's a nice story, but it's depressing, all right? And in poems, you've got The Patriot and you've got I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. Those are the 2 intense poems. I'm not saying they're boring, but they're intense. And then in Merchant of Venice, Act 3, Scene 2 is kind of longish. And Act 4, obviously the court scene, so I love it. But most people I saw from the comments last year, many people were struggling with Act 4. And Act 5 people hate because it's kind of cheesy. I like it because it's wrapping up the whole play, so it's fairly easier than the other scenes because it's a very happy atmosphere in Act 5, all right? Now, depending on how your school is teaching you whatever they are teaching you, my advice is to cover up everything right from the start. तेरे को जिस दिन स्कूल में Act 3 Scene 1 सिखाया है, उसी के next week में तेरा Act 3 Scene 1 wrap up होना चाहिए. And textbook is the key. If you go to some classes and they are helping you with notes and everything, that's fine. But if you don't go for any classes, then textbook is your key. Read the scene carefully. Understand the scene carefully. Understand the footnotes. Allusions are very important. Don't leave them for the end. What most people do is they start covering up allusions towards the board exams. के end में they start noticing कि अच्छा footnotes नाम की एक चीज़ होती है. Footnotes are very important because अगर MCQs आए तो most of these MCQs come from the footnotes. Alright? And so MCQs में footnotes are important. Scene उसी वक्त पे खत्म कर लेता कि बाद में pile on ना हो. And the boring chapters that I'm talking about, instead of thinking that I'm gonna skip these, again, it depends solely on the paper pattern. You can skip it. I made a reel. It was a fun content where I took Bluebeard as a reference point and I was saying you can't skip anything. And then Bluebeard never came for the exam, so everyone was commenting कि हमने किया भी नहीं, आया भी नहीं Bluebeard. So, but those people got lucky. बिकॉज जिस तरह से पेपर पैटर्न अभी का है, यू कांट प्रेडिक्ट थिंग्स. आ भी सकता है, नहीं भी आ सकता, यू कांट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. तो if the paper pattern changes, and by changes what I mean is, what if you get 9 questions of which you have to attempt only 5 questions, which was the older paper pattern, then that's the best news you can ever have, because in that way you can actually skip a chapter, you can skip a scene and you can strategize and do block learning. But we'll come to know all of this later. So जब year start होगा ना, एक चीज़, no matter how cheesy this sounds, make sure that तेरे पास हमेशा at any given point एक highlighter हो और एक पेन हो जब तू पढ़ने बैठे. When you're studying and you're reading a dialogue, remember one thing on Merchant of Venice, The dialogue, just because the line ends, the sentence doesn't end. दोनों में बहुत difference है. A line can go on for 5 lines, or a sentence can go on for 5 lines. That means the sentence is not over. The sentence is still going on. But what most kids do is, sir, I didn't understand the sentence because the line ended. Line and sentence में फर्क है. So just make sure that you're reading the whole sentence carefully. Now, when you're reading the whole sentence, understand it. एक बार understand कर लिया ना, फिर you can write it in your own words. All I care about is the keywords. तो तेरे को उसमें से जो key points है उसको highlight कर ले. What is the essence of the sentence? Sentence बोलने की क्या try कर रहा है? What is Shakespeare trying to convey to us? So those are the things that you need to highlight. Alright? Footnotes में relevant meanings दिए होते हो, footnotes के meanings को highlight कर लेने का. अब second, pen कहाँ काम आती है? As in when you are done reading a scene, think कि चल अगर मैं एक पेपर बनाऊंगा तो मैं क्या क्या पूछ सकता हूँ. सो स्टार्ट फॉर्मिंग क्वेश्चंस आउट ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी लाइन. एक एक लाइन में से एक क्वेश्चन बना, एक एक लाइन में से सोच के अगर मेरे को टेकअप्स लेना है किसी का, मैं अपने जूनियर्स के टेकअप्स लूंगा तो कैसे लूंगा टेकअप्स, तो मैं क्या क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकता हूँ. That way you're already getting into your teacher's brain. You already know what your teacher is going to think, in what direction your teacher is going to think, and then you can form your own set of notes. You don't need to rely on someone else for this, alright? So make sure that you're doing this right from the start of the new academic year. Starting में हम लोग जोश में होता है तो ये कर ले, फिर अगर वो हैबिट फॉर्म हो गई ना तो तेरा ईयर एकदम स्मूथ जाएगा. टुवर्ड्स द एंड वरना सब कुछ पाइल्ड ऑन होगा. Also, whatever content had to come in the market regarding this academic year is already out there. So previous year's prelim papers of different schools, or books from the market. I'll tell you, there's this new publication called Almond Publication. I just stumbled across it recently, and they are doing a fairly good job, because what they've done is they've compiled even the prelim papers of various schools here, at least in Mumbai, and they've put it in the chapter wise. They've included it in the textbook of theirs. So it's on Amazon, and this is not a paid promotion. I don't know who owns Almond Publication, but it sounds like that. But one day maybe I'll be doing promotions as well. But make sure that you go through it. These are good books in the market. Goyal's is good, and Oswal is good. Alright, so but you should use these books only towards the latter half of the year. Starting में your focus should only be on the textbook. English में जब तू अपने लिए एक टारगेट सेट करेगा ना चार्ट पेपर पे, इंग्लिश की बात कर रहा हूँ, बाकी सब्जेक्ट का मैं I am actually not capable of talking of other subjects because मुझे आते नहीं है बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स. बट इंग्लिश में your target score should be 100. तेरा 100 का ही स्कोर होना चाहिए. Now, the second thing, that's language. When you start off with language this year, you need to start writing right from the start, because that's the part a lot of kids struggled with last year. The ones who gave the board exams right now, they couldn't finish the paper, they couldn't complete the paper. But paper का length change नहीं हुआ है, paper का length वही है जो पिछले 10 साल से था. What has changed is your habit of writing. So the simplest thing to do is now, each week, I'm not saying every day, technically every day ऐसे लोग बोलते हैं, but possible नहीं है, practical नहीं है. Every week ना एक पैराग्राफ, कोई भी एक रैंडम पेपर उठा, टोटल इंग्लिश से उठा, प्रैक्टिस पेपर्स है उसमें, और यू टेक एवरग्रीन, और यू टेक लास्ट 10 years बोर्ड पेपर्स, टेक एनी वन टॉपिक ऑफ द एसे एंड राइट ओनली द फर्स्ट 20 lines ऑफ दैट टॉपिक, 20 lines, and get it checked from your teacher. It could be a school teacher, it could be a classes ka teacher, it could be anybody. But the first 20 lines is what matters. It will help you to ideate, it will help you to write better, and it will teach you to sell your idea to the teacher within those 20 lines. Because अगर 20 lines बकवास निकले ना तो आगे का ऐसे कैसा है किसी को फर्क नहीं पड़ता. 20 lines is what matters the most. So start writing each week. Every week 20 lines लिखने का एक aim होना ही चाहिए कैसे भी करके. So that way your speed will also increase and you will also write better. Another thing that people did towards the end of the year that you should do at the start is reading comprehensions. When you read comprehensions, your reading speed increases. Alright, you can read faster, you'll be able to tackle the comprehension faster, because that's the part people struggle with a lot, the comprehension passages. Alright, so make sure that you read every week, read one passage. I'm saying every week, that's realistic. 52 weeks, 52 passages, and that means 52 essays that you're writing. That's quite decent, enough practice for that paper. And that brings me to email, notice, letter. I always say that formats at this stage, 10th standard में तो formats आने ही चाहिए, वरना जुगाड़ से पास हुए हो तुम, वरना 10th में आके formats का तकलीफ नहीं होना चाहिए. So formats should be good. I think you should start focusing with the writing part of it. So I've covered the language part, I've covered literature. Of course, this is just a brief about how your academic year should be and what you वो जो नारियल फोड़ना होता है before you start the new academic year. That is this नारियल. Be regular, be consistent. वरना वो piled on जब हो जाएगा ना, तब it will be difficult to deal with things. I got a lot of texts during the board exams of people dealing with family issues towards the end, because these are unexpected family emergencies. Parents not being well, you have to attend to your parents, your sudden emotional emergencies come up. In those cases, no, only if you've been regular through the year, it helps you. It definitely benefits you, because then the load is less. So you need to have buffer days in mind. You need to know that, okay, board exam is not in March, the board exam is in December. Think of it that way, because October is when most of the portion will be over. So think that एक बार portion खत्म हो गया, उसके बाद मेरे को board exam December में लिखनी है. फिर December के बाद obviously you have 2 months का buffer time. तो कुछ भी emergency आता है, health emergency आता है, family emergency आता है, emotional emergency आता है, you are still sorted. Alright, so this is just an advice. I'm gonna be there for you guys throughout the year. You're the last batch that's giving this syllabus, so it's gonna be a dhamakedar year for you, because it's gonna be a very epic paper. I'm looking forward to it, because after this, the new batch is never going to write an MOV. Never, nahi. Well, maybe after 10 years they'll again write it, but they won't be touching MOV for a long time now. So last batch with this syllabus, I'm looking forward to it. You should look forward to it. Let's do this. Take care.